Hey everybody, welcome to the Bullish Rippers YouTube channel. We post all the recordings of the Rippers Twitter Spaces to this page. So, if you ever miss a Twitter Spaces, this is the place to come and check. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that like button if you enjoy.
Yeah, dude, excited to hear some more thoughts from a bunch of these people. Hoping we can get as many of them in as possible. Getting the Arc Daily account up here as well. Let that chill.
Yep, I'm gonna throw the wolf one in just a minute. Pull that up. Cool. Yep, everything's looking pretty solid. Tough day in the market though, in crypto.
Dude, it's only been getting worse, honestly, throughout the day. I know we had a great live session earlier with Exclusive. I actually see in the crowd now. But yeah, the market has just been down since. I'm looking at the portfolio, and it's a nice downward line. If nice is probably not the right word for it, but yeah.
Yeah. So I updated mine too, and I do have the heart on the Rippers.
Well, there we go. The new emojis. I was so shocked that when I was on Rippers earlier that gave me the old ones, even though I was on the same phone.
Yeah, a little sad that we don't have the 100s, but it's okay. What's up, PB?
What's up? How you doing?
Good, man. How you?
Good. Just got out of school and just watching the market.
Time to roll. Not missing too much with this market today. How you doing, X?
Man, I'm better now. My Culvers just got here.
What got here?
The Culvers.
Oh, got you. Yeah, did you have that sweepstakes yet?
Yeah, I announced
Okay, I'm assuming I didn't win a MacBook Pro.
Unfortunately not. Wendy asked. I forget her tag, but it's on my timeline.
Okay,
cool. Is Culver's a Midwest thing, or where is that? No, I remember having it at school.
It's like a Midwest, Eastern thing. They just recently built one here, that's why.
Midwest East.
Yeah.
What's up? What's up, Richard?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Good, man. So, Richard, I know we normally have Brian on and we do a rapid fire, but Brian couldn't make it this week, so we're going to do just a little bit more open this week.
Yeah, no problem.
Next week, actually, with you and Brian, I'm actually I want us to do like the first 20 minutes instead of taking names. I actually want to do like more of an analysis of like your processes and how you guys find setups and explanations of details. So looking forward to that too. And I have somebody that's actually going to come in, record the content, and then cut it up so we can post it out places.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Doing our best to make this a pro gig, but let's get started. It's Power Hour. We've been on Spaces for a lot of time today already. If anybody's unfamiliar, my name is Garth Blacksburg. I run the Wolf account. I think this is like hour 6 of Spaces today. I'm going to put out a tweet for this space in just a second if everyone could share that. But to get us started, we have Richard on here. Richard, would love to hear about your day in the market, how this week's been treating you, and if there's any names that you're keeping your eye on through Power Hour, and we'll go from there.
Sure thing. So probably if you listened to the past few weeks, it's not much different, honestly. Based on my time frame and style, which is a swing position trade style inspired by the CAN-SLIM methodology developed by William O'Neill, looking for growth stock leaders, accelerating earnings, sales, margins, new products, new services, innovation, changing how we work, live, and play. That's kind of my background. And I always want to try to play those stocks when the market is in a strong uptrend, the sector is in a strong uptrend, the industry group is in a strong uptrend. So I have all those kind of tailwinds that I'm just kind of riding to get that highest probability setup. And yeah, that's kind of my overall background. As for how I'm interpreting the market right now, the QQQ, which is the NASDAQ 100, and also the just NASDAQ composite in general, has been extremely choppy. We're in a corrective market right here. We're below a lot of the key moving averages that I look at. The 21 EMA is pretty key for me. The 50 simple moving average. And it's important to remember that these are just kind of areas of interest. They're not some magic line that the market has to obey, but often crosses above and below them will change kind of the character of the stock. If you're in a downtrend below declining 21 and 50 SMA, net institutions are likely distributing stock. And that's what's creating that overall drawdown and also increases the volatility just because there's less liquidity in general. So as for the indexes right now, we're below a declining 10 EMA, 21 EMA, 50 SMA. We're also below the 200-day simple moving average right now. So basically on multiple time frames, we're just not in a strong uptrend. So right now, for my style, I'm mostly cash. I've been trading here and there, just kind of getting test trades on here. But for the vast majority of the past few weeks, and almost a month at this point, I've been mostly in cash. And that doesn't mean you can't profit from a quick move here or there, but that's not really my style to day trade and switch things up. For me, once we get a nice trend going again above a rising 21 EMA, above a rising 50 SMA, that's when I make the majority of my cash. So right now it's just kind of emphasizing patience on my part, waiting for setups to emerge. And it looked like things were maybe tightening up over the past few days, but obviously today is a little bit of a changing character. We had a gap down on most of the indexes, and now we're just kind of steady selling throughout the entire day. Looks like we'll finish at the lows unless things dramatically change here in the last hour. But pretty much on all time frames, not a great market. If you're shorting, there's been plenty of opportunities. But even if you're shorting, it's been so volatile up and down with these quick pops and moves that unless you're day trading short, there maybe hasn't been great swing trades of 3 to 5 days to really profit from. So in terms of my style, like I said, I'm mostly long focus, looking to trade those true market leaders, which is what we call them, when the market and also the stock are right, both fundamentally and technically. And right now, since we're in a correction, mostly hands off, working on doing studies of different setups, working on stuff for TraderLion, which is my mentorship, basically the mentorship platform that I'm a co-owner in, working on making videos for my YouTube channel, just trying to keep my hands off those keyboards because I know if I do kind of force things here, I'm most likely, because the probabilities are so low of a long trade working this environment, I most likely just get a bunch of basically paper cuts, which can add up over time as stocks hit my stop loss. So yeah, from my general point of view, in terms of the market, we're in a downtrend corrective, very choppy, and cash is a great spot to be in for the majority of your portfolio right now. And if you're going to trade smaller, try to be less active than usual, be more selective, manage risk even tighter during this type of environment. I know a lot of traders, especially new ones, because volatility increases, they want to basically open up their stops a little bit more to kind of account for that. But that's actually kind of the opposite thing you want to do in this type of choppy environment, because if you open up your stops, you're going to suffer those bigger drawdowns when you do get stopped out. So sorry if that was a little bit long-winded or all over the place, but that's kind of my general short-term, I guess, crash pitch of my background, as well as what I'm viewing things right now.
No, that was great, man. And despite where the indices are, there are certain areas of the market that do have better looking setups and non-broken down charts. Are there any of those that you're keeping an eye on?
Yeah, so definitely the energy sector, XLE, has been pretty strong. There's been some pretty good movers in there. I haven't played those because they're kind of commodity based and just kind of choppier charts in general, so they're kind of tough to play. But the oil sector has definitely been strong. SBLK was a name I was watching today. It had really strong earnings. It's been in a nice uptrend and definitely going counter to the current trend of the market. And if you look at that chart, if you bring that up on a daily chart, we're above a rising 10 EMA, 21 EMA, 50 SMA, and 200 SMA. And for the longest time, we've been trending above an increasing 200-day moving average. So this is exactly the type of chart I want to be looking for when the market is in a strong uptrend. It's the type of chart I want to play. It's in a nice, beautiful uptrend on multiple time frames. Then we had a nice earnings move here today. But because these are kind of commodity related, well, actually this one isn't, it's a shipping stock, SBLK. It's not really my area of interest. I'm, as I said, focused on those stocks that are kind of changing the world in terms of how we communicate. They're creating innovative products, and they can have really sustained moves for the long term. So these names are working, and definitely if you're an active trader, there's spots to be in. But right now, because the market is in a correction, there's a study done by William O'Neill that said that 75% of stocks follow the general trend of the market. And if the market is choppy and a downtrend, you're only looking at 25% of stocks that can kind of buck that trend. And will they be able to do it for a consistent basis where you can get a nice swing or position trade in? So depending on your activity level, if you're a day trader, there's tons of opportunities in this volatility. But if you're a swing and position trader, It's not always worth kind of chasing these setups that are acting kind of bucking the trend of the market when the overall health of the market isn't great, just because of that probability of failure. So yeah, there's definitely some areas working to shorten things up, but I'm not really watching these too closely. The Oilers, the shippers, those are kind of defensive areas of the market.
Okay, awesome. Richard, I definitely have more areas that I want to go into, but gonna just spread it around a little bit. One of the things I did want to come back to you about after is going to be just, this whole news-driven environment and how you are approaching, trading when there's so much news and turmoil going on. But we'll come back around to that. And to everyone else, as we're going, if at any point, I know it's power hour. If you're placing a trade, if you want to come in with something, just throw that hand up and we'll get it right over to you. But for now, PB wanted to bring you in on this and just see what you've been feeling with this market, what you've been trading, and any opportunities you're looking at right now.
All right, what's up? Thanks for having me, by the way. But for right now, I'm just watching SPY and QQQ. I bought some puts about 30 minutes ago, and I'm up 50%. But I'm not gonna. I have when I trade, this is what I used to do, when I'm in the green. If there's no reason for me to sell, well, I should just keep playing the trend. But what I do is I don't like to have a green trade go red. So then I put a stop loss at say I'm up 50%, I'll put a stop loss where I'm up 25%, so that even if I still get that mindset oh, it would have went longer, I'm still getting green on the trade no matter what happens, But right now I'm just viewing the market I'm not trying to guess the moves. I'm kind of trying to say I'm just playing what I see in front of me and not trying to guess what is in I'm not trying to guess the next move. It's kind of hard to say it, but
no, that makes sense. So for these moves that you're taking right now, what indicators are you using for entry and exit?
I'm using the SAR and the 9 EMA, and then I could kind of explain if you want how I use those. So
yeah, sure.
So I go in the 5-minute and 15-minute and 20-minute, and when I see the 5-minute SAR switch to red, it kind of helps me to identify the intraday trend. So then that's why I bought QQQ puts when I did, because the SAR switched red, and then I usually I've tested this a lot and it usually works probably 8 out of 10 times. So then I bought some puts and now I'm up, and then I use the 9 EMA to help me to understand how extended or overextended or underextended the stock is. So say if I see a big gap between the 9 EMA and the SAR, and the candle, the last candle in the 5-minute, then I usually sell a little bit because it usually goes and retests that 9 EMA. And another thing I use with it is if I'm in a put situation and then the candle closes above the 9 EMA, then I'm usually gonna stop out because it's indicating strength, and usually it's getting supported.
Awesome, man. And for those in the audience who aren't familiar with SAR, do you want to just give them the 30 seconds on that?
Sorry?
For those in the audience that aren't familiar with SAR, do you want to just give them the 30-second explanation on that?
Yeah. So SAR is basically an indicator you could have on most brokers, and then it looks kind of different dots on your screen, and then when the dots go under, that means the trend switched to bullish, and then when the dots go over, it means the trend switched to bearish. And then basically the SARs have a price on the stock too. So the way the SARs change is the if the stock hits the SAR, then the SAR will change to the other side, and it helps to identify the intraday trends.
Cool, man. Awesome. Appreciate you being on.
Yep, thank you.
All right, stock talk. What's been going on, man? How are you feeling with this market?
Yeah, I woke up pretty under the weather this morning, so didn't do a ton today, but we did nail the Shopify short. This morning we saw those downgrades come across the wire. It was eight different downgrades. Usually when you have that much bearish sentiment, when you already had a big down day, like we did the day before, usually that momentum helps keep that momentum carrying through. So we took that short, and then TSDR this morning off that idea called 700 puts. Those ran, I think, almost 600% now at the end of the session. We took those at between 720 and 850 this morning. They're trading at like $46 now. So that was a really, really nice play. But that's the only trade I made today. I was feeling pretty under the weather. So, yeah, just been chilling for the rest of the day, just watching the market.
Yeah, we were live on a call for a few hours this morning, and TSDR was on with us, so we were looking through. He made out really well, to be honest. I kind of messed up this morning, taking some stuff long. I cut Upstart, so I got out of it. Luckily, it wasn't too bad, and I'm very glad I cut it because that thing went way down from where I was at. I also ended up cutting Lucid. I haven't looked at what it did since. Yeah, it went down pretty bad. So at least cut those, but really sad that I didn't get in on that shot move because I was sitting there just watching it move. And then also with Dash, we were looking at DoorDash, which did have a bit of a rebound back up, but I think he kind of saw it around like 1040, 1050. So still, nicely down from there. So yeah, he had some really good plays that he dropped in the Discord. But also we were chatting about it live. Real quick, so we have a good amount of people in here, almost 500 people, but I'm sure we can continue to boost this up because we have a fantastic panel. If anyone hasn't already shared out this space, or if anyone's in the audience, you can check pinned up top in the space. There's a tweet letting people know that we're live. Even if you like it, that's huge for the algorithm. That'll definitely bring more people in here. If people are able to retweet it, that would be fantastic too. And if any speakers, you can either share that one out, or if you want to just share out your own, we can get more people in here, which is overall around just beneficial for everyone. Let's go over to exclusive real quick. X, any updates since we last chatted?
Not really. Nothing crazy. I mean, obviously, a little bit bearish. I'm on the Qs and SPY. I picked up some Tesla puts that printed pretty decently. They're just kind of hovering around small profit right now, but I got some 850 puts on that. But no, I'm just kind of riding the momentum. I'm not really trying to counter trade the trend. I'm just slowly rolling down puts that I have or any short position, and I'm just waiting for an opportunity. But with it being the end of the day, I don't really want to give any profit back. I have my runners on Lucid that they're down, but we already took profit on the trade, so I'll let those expire worthless. But I'll keep them on the table because they're risk-free. Something might happen tomorrow when some crazy news article might ironically come out. We saw all that premium being put into it, so that just kind of confirms that something might be in the works, but it may be a different week, but who knows? That's what the point of keeping a paid runner on the table for is. Other than that, I really agree with what Richard was talking about. As far as managing your risk, it's really important to touch on that. I know it's Power Hour, and I know everyone just joining up to get a trade or two in, but having the ability to survive and trade the next day is more important than spitting out plays. But a lot of people overlook managing risk and only focus on how much money they can make. So, above that, just learn how to keep what you did make. But and with what PV was talking about with SAR, it's also really important. I'm not trying to counteract what he said, but there's also a really noticeable difference in a choppy market. The SAR method is almost always invalidated because you have to be really careful on these bigger moves of volatile swings. You can definitely use the SAR method with EMA conjunction to make some really good scalp entries. But in a chop market, now like right now we have a clear downtrend, of course, but in a choppy market where you have like this really short range and price action, the SAR method is really invalidated. So just keep that in the back of your mind if you do look into the SAR method. But it is a great tool. So props to you, PB. I mean, like I said, you got about 20 years on me, so you're doing way better than I was when I was your age. So props to you. But right now, I think I'm just kind of waiting around, watching paint dry at this point. But looks like we got some volume coming in here at the bottom, so just gonna wait.
Cool, man. Yeah, it definitely makes sense to me. Never a need to rush anything, and we did a few hours this morning, so certainly have spent our time in the ditches today. Awesome. Appreciate exclusive and SoFlo. Let's get you involved. What's been going on?
Yo, what's going on, Bullish Ripper, Stock Market Wolf, everyone that's up here speaking. I hope everyone is having a great day, first of all. Days like today, it was very beautiful to see a trend form. And one thing that, traders, investors, or whatever it may be, love is playing a trend. Earlier today, as of right now, I actually was just scaling out of position on Zoom. I shorted Zoom because on the daily we broke down at around 137, and it was a very obvious breakdown. So we grabbed puts; those did very, very well. One thing I am going to be watching just later into tomorrow, even, is the fact that on Monday the market is closed. And based on history and what I've seen, when you're in a market that a lot of people are trying to take short positions in or chasing short positions, you may see a few people covering towards the end of the week because people don't like to pay that extra premium for Mondays. Mondays is obviously it's going to be off. The markets are closed, so that is one thing. One thing I'm going to be watching out for, QQQ right now is sitting at a decent level of support around 346. But all day today, I've just been kind of playing the downtrend. We took puts on Zoom. We took puts on Morgan Stanley as well, which fell with financials. And Morgan Stanley continues to find new lower levels for the day. I would anticipate some sort of bounce here around 95, considering all of the indexes are sitting at support and the VIX is currently rejecting. But ultimately, the trend is very, very clear. It's showing what's going on. And all I have to say is play the trend.
Definitely.
If I
So
did
anything
any
else?
trade, I will be, alerting that as well. I really hate trying to interrupt people when they're talking. So it's like most of the time I'll just wait till people are done speaking. But one thing that does look interesting is actually PLTR over here. I think PLTR is at a very crucial level around 1190. There's a lot of PLTR bulls out there and bears. So I think this can have some volatility around this 1180 level.
Okay, PLTR. Anything else that you're looking at Power Hour?
I'm deciding whether I want to hold a runner for Zoom. Zoom has made its 52-week low, and if the market continues to sell off, I do believe that Zoom will continue to sell. But yeah, for now, that's kind of the two things. I don't want anyone to be chasing. That's the crucial part, is not chase. So what I'm looking for is something that's lagged behind and still has the ability to fall a little more.
Yeah, I've been looking at some of these gaps that potentially close, I think, in a similar manner to what you're talking about. And one of them was PLTR. I haven't seen how much farther it ended up falling today. Oh, wow, 17%. But this is something we discussed in the morning. And actually, we talked about last night and pretty much actually was calling for this to happen. What's been one of the most actually was looking for it to go a little bit farther down. And I think I actually wouldn't go long on here. And the reason for that is this has been a bit of a common theme where a lot of these stocks, they had a gap up. A lot of them, it was back in November, was when that initial run started, like right around like election area. So it looks like PLTRs was on November 6th, and it gapped from, what was it, 1174 up to kind of like 1368, and it's really filling that gap downwards right now. So that's what I was kind of looking for it to do. We said this on the pounding the table space last night, and I could see it filling it even a little bit farther down, maybe to under 11. So I think there could be another dollar to go here before some of the bulls set in. So I would just be cautious on that one.
Definitely. And I wanted to add to that too about bulls stepping in. Dips aren't being bought up as you would expect them to. We're not seeing V-shaped recoveries. And I'm actually going to be dropping an article soon with regards to comparing the 2018 December 2018 market crash versus the current market. And I think it's going to be a very, very interesting read. I'm going to be posting that later today. So one thing, just like you said, bulls are not stepping in to buy. And that is a big reason, is that they're waiting for these hikes to, step in. Because in 2018, we saw them put about 4 hikes in. And at the end of it all, it obviously kind of went to shit. But long story short, we ended up rallying. So it's going to be a very interesting read, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Continue to keep my eye on PLTR. All right, stock market news. We're about halfway through here. You want to weigh in on anything that you're looking at, or just any thoughts in general?
Yeah, I'm obviously much more of a long-term investor. I'm not going to come in here with any new or whatever insights for this right now. I'll keep it brief. Overall, we were in that kangaroo market, the chop market as well for a while, and we probably still are in it. There's no confirmation, but today was definitely a firm down day. I wanted to just quickly give a big shout out to all the speakers that we have in here. They're all fantastic and really thankful that they come up and join us and give their amazing information to all the listeners in here for free. So big shout out to them. Just as you're listening to them speak and as you're listening to them say like really intelligent and informational and really, helpful things, just make sure you're checking out their profiles and giving them a follow. It's worth it. It's free. It's easy. And I think it's the least that you can do for them coming up here. So big shout out to all the speakers. Big shout out to Bullish Rippers and Wolf Financial, the guy speaking behind the account right now. And I'm excited to get going. I can throw us into topics or whatever when we get going. I know, Wolf, you're running this and we'll let you start, but definitely come back to me later again.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll definitely echo that. Exclusives already spent hours and hours on Spaces with us today. Stock talk, trooping through, even when not feeling well, coming on Spaces and adding in, your opinion and perception of everything that's going on. PB, coming up young but successful. We love to see it. And of course, Richard, we do this every Thursday with Richard. Typically, we have on Brian Shannon. And we're definitely going to throw a few names at Richard to chart today also. And then, of course, SoFlo popping in. Stock Market News, I said unmuted there.
Yeah, I also wanted to make sure I mentioned these new emojis are killing me. I wanted to throw hundreds and the fist up so many times there. I'm still getting used to this, and that's like you're gonna expect at least 4 more comments from me on that. Maybe not in this space, but today, next day. It's a rough transition.
Yeah, also funky that their hearts kind of go over the edge of the screen. They didn't work that out.
So I guess DWAC is dumping on that Trump article that came out.
Oh, is it? Wait, did you guys also notice with the emojis, you can have different skin tones for all the emojis except the laughing face?
Interesting. No, I did not know that. What was the DWAC report though? It looks like it just came out at like 3:05.
Wow,
I
that's a
think
dumb.
it says it's from Reuters. Donald Trump adult children must testify under subpoena in New York. Attorney General will probe court ruling.
Oh yeah. Stock talk.
Yep, that's all I was going to say. What Exclusive just said, that they've been ordered by a federal judge to testify in a civil probe. It doesn't say exactly about what. It says the New York Attorney General has a civil probe, and a state judge has ordered Donald Trump and his quote unquote 2 adult children. They specified that for some reason. For a deposition within 21 days.
I think that's a dig at him because they basically tried to subpoena Ivanka, and Trump tweeted they're going after children now, and the whole comment section was like, she's 40 years old and had an official government position in your administration. So I think that when they said adult children specified there, I think that they were just doing a dig. Richard, I want to bring it back to you to follow up on that question I'd asked earlier regarding the news-driven economy right now.
Sure. So kind of my thoughts on that is there's almost always some narrative in the markets. There's the trade war, there's inflation currently, there's the potential war in Ukraine. And what matters most to me as a technical minded trader is what is the price action reaction to that news? If the price action ignores it, it's not necessarily relevant to pay attention to. So for me, at the end of the day, I view that all events are kind of reflected in the actual charts. And when we're seeing reaction to news events like this, it's often not a great sign for the market. It's not a great sign of the health of the market because we're getting so choppy, we're getting so volatile, we're gapping up, gapping down, just based on what news comes out that day. In a good market, bad news will be shaken off. In a bad market, maybe even good news like a good earnings report will be sold into. So I think it's important to keep track of kind of what's going on in the general sense when it comes to the macro environment and news. But for me and for a lot of technical minded traders, what matters at the end of the day is the price action. As Brian Shannon, if he was here, he'd say only price pays. And that's true. I mean, if it's not reflecting the chart, it doesn't really matter. But if it is reflected in the chart, we're going to see it in the chart. We're going to see it in price and volume action. And if the biggest institutions, which pretty much control the price action, they're involved with the majority of the trades that go on a basically an intraday basis. If they believe a threat is real and they're going to reallocate their capital because of that, we're going to see their action reflected on the price charts. And often when there's bad news, that's pretty serious. We see pretty steady selling over the course of the day, just like we're seeing today, where basically, if I look at a 65-minute chart here from the open, we had gap down, a little bit of consolidation, and then just kind of consistent selling now into the end of the day. So it's kind of just a downtrend day. And because we're gapping up and gapping down in response to the news, that is kind of one more piece of the puzzle for me when it comes to considering the overall market conditions and determining what they are. And because we're so reactive to these news events, that's kind of one more piece of evidence for me that we're not in the healthiest market conditions, especially to go to the long side.
Got it. Appreciate that insight. Yeah, definitely can't react too hard, but this market is so wacky, just has not picked a direction at all. Exclusive, I see your hand up.
Oh, never mind.
I think I saw it. You were scalping SPY there.
Was.
Yeah. No, I saw what you were doing, and I saw the hand. What's up, Sofo?
Yeah, I wanted to know. I'll just share something up top whenever people are talking, just so I don't interrupt. But Zoom is showing a lot more weakness. This continues to fall. It has the potential to keep falling, in my opinion, towards 128. Again, I don't want to recommend any chases. In my opinion, I think it would be best to wait for a potential retest of 130. This is now at a 52-week low, and it shows that it has a lot of weakness, while the QQQ is also breaking down low of day at 346.21. So definitely a lot more weakness is showing at the moment. Vix is trying to find support over 27.92, and Vix is one of the few things I look at when I'm trading. Those of you who just want a quick little summary of what the Vix is, it's an implied volatility index of the S&P 500, essentially measuring how volatile the market is. It generally has an inverse relationship with the market. So yeah, weakness, Zoom's falling, PLTR's falling. Looks like a good short in my opinion.
IWM not looking too hot either. I think that kind of falls into that area, right?
Yeah, IWM is for the small caps, so I mean they move differently, obviously, even more volatile in my opinion. But yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a crazy section. Okay, let's get a couple stock market. Is there any other areas you want to go into, or should we throw a couple of stocks out for charting?
Yeah, I think that was a good charting time. I definitely do want to talk a little bit about earnings before we get to that, before we get to earnings after, but we still got 30 minutes to do that and a couple news stories as well. But I think charting time is good. Got some top-class charters in here. I don't know how we couldn't do that.
Let's do it. All right, Richard, I got a couple of requests, I'm pretty sure, for people that wanted to have you chart some stuff. So
Sure.
Would love to hear for coin. Also, this is an interesting one to chart. This other one, it's because I think it's more, I don't really know. So UVXY, is that something that you feel like you can chart?
Yeah, that tracks the VIX. So
Right.
yeah, I don't chart on that too much, but I do. I mean, I look at it, but maybe pick another one as well. Maybe whoever was talking about the VIX earlier, was that UX? Can touch on that, or SoFlo?
Yeah, sure. So we
It
could do
wasn't me.
coin then if you want, and then the other one along with coin would be Upstart.
Sure, I'll do that. And I wrote them down on a piece of paper so I won't forget them like I usually do. So here we go. So first of all, bringing up coin. Obviously, this is a pretty recent issue. We've now got about 215 bars traded in this stock. We had a nice base forming and a move up the right-hand side of the base back in October of 2021. I actually did play this up the right-hand side, but I ended up selling it when it had that earnings gap down. Yeah, from there on, it pushed up a little bit more, but then kind of lost its trend near the mid-November mark and started a downtrend below a declining 21 EMA. Then it crosses 50-day, couldn't hold that or the prior pivot if I look at the chart, which was at 294. And from there, it's now just been in a downtrend. It can't make it back above the rising 20 or declining 21 EMA. And right now, it is forming a potential move up here, we had some big hammer candles forming on 124 and 128 when a lot of stocks did similar things. But right now it's just kind of choppy. We're not seeing a potential trend starting yet. If it gets back above 218, fills that gap there with earnest, see volume coming into the upside, get back above the 21 EMA, which would then kind of curl up under price. That's when I would look to get even consider getting involved. But because it's such in a downtrend, it's not really a leading stock anymore. And if you just look at it, it's kind of percentage off highs. It's now 47% off those intermediate highs that it sent back in 11.9. So yeah, it's not holding up super well. I think it still needs a lot of time. A lot of new IPOs kind of go through this longer term basing process. But then when they start approaching their prior highs, that's when you want to look for volume contraction, for a nice trend above moving averages and clear pivots to emerge. And then you can often get the meat of the uptrend. So right now it's just kind of chopped directionless. It is holding up above those recent lows. But yeah, not super high up on my radar. So that is UPS, that's coin rather. And let's move on to UPST. This is also looks kind of similar. It's also a former leader that was acting well. Then it had a gap down on 11.10. And from there on, just kind of started a downtrend below, declining 10, 21 EMA. And like coin, it had a huge hammer candle on 124. But since then, acted a little bit stronger. It pushed up against the 21 EMA, tightened up a little bit, and then had a gap up on earnings on the largest volume ever. And that's kind of key for how I look at price. The largest volume ever on 216. And if I bring up MarketSmith, although I don't have it open here, I know this for a fact. The fund sponsorship, which is kind of a trend that I look pretty closely at. If I look up MarketSmith, let's actually type that in here and bring up the fund information. Over the past few quarters, the 5 quarters, it's increased from 53 funds owning shares to now 521. And this was also increasing even as the stock was declining it went from 244 in June 21 to now 521. The recent quarter jumped from 328 to 521. So funds have been accumulating this during a downtrend. Now today it's not acting well, but I think a key level to watch is the low of yesterday's candle. And even if it loses that, I think if it builds out, stays above the all-time low right now, which is at 124, and tightens up, and we see volume come in on the upside and contract on the downside, I think this is definitely one to watch. If I look at this chart, 163, which is kind of the highs that it set back in 1227 through 1231 of this year, that's kind of a level I would watch. That's pretty key to the upside. Can it build under that, tighten up, form up a base at the bottom of this downtrend, and start to move out the right-hand side? But similar to coin, it is still in a downtrend. We're below the 200 SMA. The 50 SMA is now under price. And if it can build here, would start to curl up. But I would think it'd be extremely constructive if it goes sideways here while the market continues downwards and starts to build above those key moving averages, the 21 EMA. That would be what I would look for with this stock. But still is pretty suspect here, but I do like the huge volume yesterday that suggests that institutions liked the report. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens in the coming weeks and months with this stock.
How about Walmart?
Sure. Let me bring that up. All right. So I always like moving back in time, scanning out to get a kind of full longer term perspective on the stock. And in general, this is a pretty steady mover, nice long-term hold for a lot of people's Roth IRAs for the most part. But going back even to November of 2020, this has been stuck in a range pretty much from 153 and on the bottom side, 126. So it just kind of range bound here, and moving towards the more recent history, it's been stuck from about that same high level 150 to now about 132. So just pretty much going sideways, a little bit choppy. Just looking at the price chart, it doesn't really like to trend for weeks and months. It's pretty much all over the place. We're below a declining 50 SMA, below a 200-day moving average. But if it does get back above those moving averages and start to approach that 150 level, and like I said with coin, contract in terms of both price and volume, that would be pretty constructive, and that could be a pretty good spot to get in. If you look back in the July 30 of 2021 timeframe, we had kind of what I'm looking for. We had a bottom put in, a higher low, and then around that area, July 30, we get a pretty tight contraction above a rising 21 EMA, just above the 200 SMA. And you can see we get a quick move up from that into 811, and that's about a 6% move in just a few days. And for Walmart, which is a more mature stock, that's actually a pretty solid move. I know a lot of people are used to options, a lot used to these high beta names that can move, almost 30% in that same time frame. But for Walmart, that's a pretty substantial move. But so far, it got rejected back at that 150 level. So it's still range bound, still just going sideways, in my opinion.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. And let's do one more, and then we'll continue to run around and just see what else we have. Amazing audience again. Great to see we're able to get 600 plus people into here. One more time, we have a fantastic panel, definitely leaning towards technical analysis on this panel. So people like Richard, Exclusive, PV, SoFlo, and Stock Talk, all amazing with the technical. Stock Talk definitely mixing in a lot of the momentum stocks as well. And, Richard definitely always getting that full story and everything that's going on there. Really like to see it. And then Stock Market News, awesome long-term investor. And then if you like spaces, the Wolf account is for you. Stock Market News, we're almost, we already hit it. I was going to say, should we do a giveaway for 17K on Rippers?
We'll get some. We're doing some stuff. We can get something going soon. We'll do a 17K giveaway. Give away some nice stickers and stuff.
I like to just call out giveaways and put the onus on Stock Market News to make sure that they actually happen.
I'll make sure we get one going.
That's one of my favorite things. But yeah, shout out everybody who got the Rippers account to 17K. It's moving really nicely, and we do multiple spaces on here a week. So if you're unfamiliar, I do 2 spaces a week on here. Evan does a space, and Evan does a bunch of tweets, and Brad might be maybe doing a little stuff. I don't know. Maybe. Who knows? He's coming on all of our spaces regardless. So really good stuff happening on this Bullish Rippers account for anyone that hasn't already checked it out. All right, let's keep it rolling a little bit. So, Evan, did you want to hit on some earnings stuff before the bell?
Yeah, let me go and get in front of me. The only one that people are really going to care about, sorry, I have to get back to where I was, is Roku. Expect the numbers out around 4:05 p.m. Let me get the exact expectations in front of me, and maybe we can get into more open conversation if anyone cares about any of these stocks that report earnings. Maybe the other ones that should be on my radar would want to know if anyone has any on their radar. But let's check Roku very quickly. Okay, we got expectations are EPS of 4 cents, down from EPS of 49 cents in the same quarter last year, and then revenue is expected to come in at $896.75 million, up 38% year over year. Again, that should be expected around 4:05 p.m. And if I look to the other stocks that report today, when I look at the largest stocks, we also have Digital Realty, DLR, Keysight, Edison, ED, Globant, GLOB. There just isn't that much that people are going to care about. Maybe Sunrun. I know that became a FinTwit stock for a little, ticker RUN. But are any of the other speakers up here have any stocks that they care about or been watching at all reporting today? I think that gets to you. I think it's really just Roku, which should be out at 4 or 5. I know I was talking that we should stay live a little bit to get some of those live earnings out. So should be a quick one, but we can get some instant reactions to that. So that's pretty cool. But we can dig into some stories. We can dig into whatever. Wolf, did you have any direction you want to throw us, or did anyone?
I saw TSDR came up here. So TSDR, you called out Shop 700 puts this morning. They're currently up about 430% since when you called them out. Are you still holding any?
No, I'm not. So actually, even cooler. So I took all the profits, pretty much closed out. It was a really good last sell when Shop was about $698 at about 10:30 this morning market time. We were getting a little extended, a little long in the tooth at the time. Needed a little bit of a retracement, and I didn't want to sit through that retracement. Anywho, we did exactly that, right? And all we did was pull into the VWAP, the session VWAP for the day, and immediately after we reject there for the second time, really having trouble getting over this 715 or 714 level. I'm looking at, all right, this thing's failing, pretty hard. There's buyers aren't very prevalent here, aren't very strong, they're not buying this dip, right? So I'm looking, for a reshort on this, and I'm watching the tape on this, and there was. And this is something that I've seen time and time again, where it appears that the price is being held up by a hidden buyer. What Sorry, I'm stuttering so much, but it appears to me that someone is holding this stock above $710 for a period of time while they're trying to build in a short position above $710. And if you look at these two 5-minute candles at 11:55 and 12 p.m., the stock price is holding perfectly at $710. So, in my opinion, once someone has built in the short position that they want on shop above $710, then they end up selling that buy order that was holding it up above 710, and then it just opens up the floodgates. So, anyways, it's not like a perfect science. It's just something that I've seen time and time again, and I've determined that is what's occurring. So I'm sitting there talking to some people, and we were live on a different space at this time, saying that if this thing cracks 710, I'm taking this short again. And I ended up getting in a little bit anticipatory of this 710 break, and I'm just like, this is going to happen. It's written in the stars. So we took the $700 puts again as it retraced, and we got those again at $10.55. Anyways, last time I checked, they were trading at like 36 or 38 bucks. So that's about $2,000 a contract. I think some people were able to capitalize on that trade. I know I did. I had a very good day trading shop, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to break down that trade, and I'm thankful that Shop is such a crappy company that it was able to give me a great short position.
Yeah, those are trading at 42 now.
Jeez.
So, yeah, they've quite the movement. But good stuff, man. I appreciate you coming on and shouting that out. I wish I took it instead of putting it on a watch list. I'm watching.
Or Dash ended up working out. Didn't have as much follow through, but yeah, Dash was another clean short.
Yeah, there was definitely some good runs in there. Cool stuff, man. All right, let's see what else is going on. So, PV, what's on your watch list for tomorrow?
Okay, tomorrow I'm watching Tesla, and I haven't drawn out my supports and resistance for tomorrow yet, but I'm just going to play support and resistance breaks, and then I'm watching Roku after hours. So, like, for Roku, I'm probably not going to play it, not sure, but every single person I feel like is buying puts, so, like, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they rip it, but I'm not sure, And then I'm watching UVXY, Zoom. It's at the 52-week low, I think. Yeah. I'm watching AMD for sure. I feel like tomorrow, like, a lot of these stocks are at their crucial supports. Like, if they can get under them, there's going to be a big flush, but I'm not sure. Like, right now, trading in this market, it's been pretty hard lately. But AMD, and then I'm also watching Moderna. I think, like, under 140 can see new lows. But yeah, that's like what I'm watching for tomorrow.
So, one more time, your process with SAR, you're looking at a 5-minute and a 15-minute?
5-minute and 15, usually 20-minute though. 5 and 20 are my two favorite.
Okay, so you look, and what's the first thing you look for?
Like, are you on Weeble, or what are you looking at it on?
I'm on TrendSpider, which actually doesn't have a 20-minute. They have 15 and 30.
Okay, so like you see when the SAR's under and then it's over.
Is this on Myrna?
It doesn't matter on whatever. Like, you see how sometimes the SAR goes under the candles and sometimes
Yeah.
it goes over? Yeah, so the first time it goes under, I usually buy calls. And then the first time it goes over, I buy puts.
Interesting. Okay, but over on which time frame? You look for both time frames confirmation?
Yeah. I can buy
Okay. Very interesting. All right. And you're mostly doing that on SPY?
To be honest, not really. I like to do it on QQQ and then like QCOM. I like to a lot on QCOM. I like AMD, Tesla. Yeah, that's the main ones I do it on.
Got you. So with
AMD.
QQQ, I guess QQQ, there was that on the 5 minute, if you go back to around 12 p.m., that's when you had that pop over. I guess you could have taken that short all the way down to here, right?
Yeah, so today I rate the first red was 2:10 p.m. I bought puts because the 5 minute went red, and then I made 60%.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So I always like learning about new strategies and different stuff that people are implementing because there's so many indicators. And for anyone in the audience, right, there's not just going to be one necessarily that's right for you. You're not just going to seize upon it right off the bat. Typically, it makes sense to try it out with a number of strategies, and also you can test those strategies out without implementing the money. You can say, hey, this is where it's moving. This is where I would go ahead and take it, and then you can track from there the movement of perhaps the option or the commons, whatever it is that you are trading with. So don't feel a need to put big money in, or you could do it with small, right? You could grab a contract for the first a few times and play around with that, have a little skin in the game. There's a lot of different ways to go about it. Good stuff, PB. Okay, Stock Talk, what's on your radar for tomorrow? It's probably trading. Yo, Stock Talk, you in here? All right.
Yeah, everything's dumping.
What do you
Yeah, I just got
Yeah, sorry, I am. I was just responding to some DMs.
good, man.
Yeah, it's right now at the end of the day we're seeing a big dump. I'm kind of watching DWAC tomorrow. See what happens with this New York Attorney General probe. I don't know all the details yet. I read the articles that came out, but they're pretty not specific. There's some random details about the subpoena, but it's not specific about what it's regarding. So if it ends up being about Truth Social, then I would like to short DWAC on that. I didn't take a short today. Obviously, we didn't get much of a drop. It cut off the move. It was up like 5%, and then dropped to even. But if that probe really is about Truth Social, it'll drop a lot more. So I'll be watching that tomorrow, see if any other news comes out about that. I'm still hedged with RK puts. Those have been paying nicely. I picked those up a couple days ago for $3. They're trading at 565 today. Keeping those full size, not profit taking on those. I have a March 18th expiry, so I have time. Basically, just simple hedge exposure to my growth and tech portfolio, which actually really, really helped me today. If I didn't have that on my long-term portfolio today, it would have been down really bad. So I'm glad I had that hedge. Going to keep that. And then also watching to see if we can get some recovery in the semi names off this move down today. We had a broad move down today in semis. USD, which is the leveraged ETF exposure, it's down like 9% today. I'm looking at my semiconductor watch list right now. Every name is down. Granted, broad down day in the market, but I think there might be some buying opportunities here in the near term, considering the relative strength that semis have had recently. Maybe the NVIDIA earnings kind of spoiled the sentiment for a few days, so I'll wait for that to recover. But there's some names that I want along here. Also, another big one that I think was kind of overlooked today was the drop off in all the lithium names, despite the fact that lithium hydroxide spot prices over the weekend were surging. Morgan Stanley expects them to surge through the summer. So I think there's some buying opportunities there as well. But, same thing. I mean, I hate to be a broken record, but I'm just playing things day by day. I don't really see the purpose in being predictive in a market like this. Just play what comes to you. Today, this morning, I noticed all those shop downgrades, threw that idea in there. TSDR turned that idea into a nice snipe with the shop puts. That was probably the biggest play we had today was that those puts that TSDR called. Those ran nuts. I mean, he picked them up at between 720 entries and right. TSDR, your first entry was 850, second was 720, right?
100%.
Yeah.
I felt
Those
bad.
great.
I was live on Spaces with Wolf, and I gave the 850 entry, and I said, only the Discord gets the second ad at 720.
I love it. But yeah, TSDRs were just killing on the day trading room. You had a couple other hits today too with those Rivian puts and some other plays. So yeah, great day trading from TSDR today. I've been taking a lot of his plays and watching those. He's a lot more of a day trader than I am, although I've been trying to become more of one lately, trying to adjust my style a little bit. But Yeah, just playing things day by day. I don't, holding things overnight in a climate like this, especially from an options perspective, if you're holding near-term expiry options overnight in a market like this, like you are playing with fire. Like all it takes is one headline, right? We are in a massive headline risk market, and so you can do the best technical analysis on earth. You could have a team of technical analysts sitting at your desk, and if you wake up to a bad headline, and you're looking for an upside chart, and if you wake up to a good headline, you're looking at a downside chart. I mean, it can just invalidate your entire thesis, and so that's part of the reason why I'm not looking to hold things overnight unless they're hedges, right? So, where I have long-term positions, I think it's important to be, or not important to be, I think it's vital to be hedged in this market. So, I'll hold hedges overnight and swing those, but that's about it. In terms of like net long or net short positions, no overnight holds for me, not yet. I don't think I'll be at the juncture of swing trading again until we get to that March meeting. Because whoever you talk to, JP Morgan's forecasting 7 rate hikes now this year. I mean, banks are just being super hawkish in their forecasts. I think they're being a bit aggressive, and we might, bake in a reaction to that hyper aggression. And then if we end up getting 2 to 3 rate hikes between 25 and 50 basis points, then, that would technically be bullish based on expectations. So let's see what happens. I mean, I think, Bullard is obviously really pounding the table on the fact that he wants a 1% hike by July 1st. I don't want to say it's unrealistic, but that would be a pretty quick hike going from March to July. We'd probably do. I would imagine they would just do 50 basis points at each meeting. But yeah, pace and path of policy, as I've been saying, as Wolf, on all of these spaces for weeks. Pace and path of monetary policy is really all that matters this year. Everything else is kind of fugazi. Like the market cares about how quickly the Fed raises rates and how much they raise rates, and that is the number one like cornerstone issue. Obviously, right now the Russia-Ukraine thing is an overhang, and the market tends to do this with catalysts, where it prioritizes catalysts that are more immediate priorities for the market, and it's shown that the Ukraine-Russia situation is a more immediate priority for the market. It doesn't mean it's more important than monetary policy. It just means it's a more immediate priority. So once we get past this Russia-Ukraine situation, which I hope we do, I hope it doesn't go to war. But once we get past this Russia-Ukraine situation, the market will go right back to worrying about Fed policy. And then once we get past that first interest rate hike in March, you're going to be looking at potential quantitative tightening either the end of this year or the start of next year. And I think perhaps the most important thing we saw in the Fed minutes this week, which, mostly a nothing burger report, market reacted that way. Obviously, we saw Qs and SPY were down bad that day, and then they like ripped vertical candles up back to green. And so, market liked that reaction. They really viewed the minutes as a nothing burger. But one significant thing that was said was that they said they expect a significant reduction in the balance sheet, which they've never used that term before. I know it just may sound like, semantics to some of you, but, the Fed in their messaging is very careful about the terminology that they use. A balance sheet reduction versus a significant balance sheet reduction are definitely two different things. So, again, no swing trading for me until March. And that's just my personal, view on it. I know a lot of people are already starting to swing trade on the upside or the downside, and if it's working for you, more power to you. But the thing that's been working for me is just day trading catalysts, day trading, immediate ERs, press releases, price target upgrades, price target downgrades, because that draws volume. Catalysts draw volume, and a market like this, you need volume for your setups to work. So that's really the simplest way to explain what I've been trying to do.
Perfect. Yeah, I feel like I've heard that a lot, and it does seem to resonate, that idea of staying away from the swing trading, and people are just getting in, getting out, because with the volatility, there seems to be an ability to create quick profit, but only if you lock it in. Seems like it goes away immensely fast, on a daily basis. So it's been happening. All right, stock market news. We're at 4:02. We're getting stuff at 4:05, right?
We got one or two numbers if people do care about them. Redfin, ticker RDFN. They reported EPS of negative 27 cents, which beat expectations of negative 31 cents. Revenue was 643.1 million, which beat expectations of 598.7 million. And then that's all we really got right now. I see Sunrun and Appian did just cross. I'll get the numbers to you in a minute, but it's decent coverage right in there. I go and check also where the markets closed exactly and everything like that if we want to get a full rundown in.
Yeah, I will say, I think we took the brunt of it. We did not have the patented Bullish Ripper SPY run into the close. However, it was already coming down. I guess we got the last 30-minute candle was green, so there was that. But yeah, I mean, we came in a little tough there, and it did try that candle on the first half of it. Did try. Well, I guess that wasn't the 30-minute candle. That was the after hours. Okay, 2 red candles is what it is. What a day! Down 5% for Tesla.
It is what it is.
Upstart finishing down 6%. Hut is down to 640, down 11%. In mode, that's a stock that everyone was. That was
the saddest attempt at trying to find a silver lining for today.
Wait, with looking for the Bullish Rippers.
No. Well, I guess we got the 30-minute candle. It was green on SPY at the end of the day.
But it wasn't. It was the after hours candle. I wasn't looking. It was the 3-minute candle. It was green.
Made me chuckle.
Hey, listen, man. I hold on to what I can in these times of peril.
I love it.
SoFi, no, you're good. SoFi down 6.5%.
Yeah, so check Sunrun, ticker RUN. I don't know if people care about it. They reported EPS of negative 19 cents, and then revenue was 435.2 billion, which beat expectations of 409.1 million. Appian, ticker APPN, EPS of negative 19 cents, beat expectations of negative 23 cents, and then revenue of 104.99
Roku's
million,
dumping.
beat expectations of 95.
Roku.
It would have. I think that's a pre-earnings one. I don't think it's out yet. I think it's out in literally a second. So this might be a little pre-move drop.
That is a dump.
It just dropped $18 in 1 minute.
Maybe it's out somewhere. I'm not seeing it cross yet, though.
So, yeah, it was down 10% today, and then it's dropped another 7% in after hours.
Dropbox, EPS of 41 cents, beat expectations of 37 cents. Revenue of 565.5 million, which beat expectations of 558.16 million. And Roku is out. Let me get to it.
That Roku stuff is volatile. It was down 10%, now down 5%, and just dropped another 3%. It's all over the place.
I hate when companies do this. They did one of the classic ones where the PR is just a whatever. We'll take an extra minute with the numbers.
Quick, Richard, what's up?
Oh, I just wanted to say, unfortunately, I do have to step away. My dog's begging me for a walk. But always a pleasure being on here. And everybody manage risk, know your environment. Know that it's okay not to trade if it's not your environment, and just be careful out there and keep managing risk.
Great having you on,
make
man.
sure, make sure you're following Richard, one of the top accounts on here. Fantastic follow, puts out some amazing content. Really smart guy. Proved that on here. But Wolf, I cut you off.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, Richard, we're gonna get you on a couple more next week.
Yeah, sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Richard, I have to say, I absolutely love the Trader Line videos, the interviews with some of the people you've had on there. They've been absolutely phenomenal. I absolutely love them.
Thank you so much.
Link in bio?
Yes, if you go to the Trader Line account, which I don't know if I can link a tweet here quickly, but maybe I'll tweet it at Wolf later. But yeah, on my channel and also on the Trader Line channel, I interview guys who have been trading for decades. Always love picking their brain. You can tell that they've been here for so long because they just emphasize risk management, always thinking about the downside first. That's the key to doing this sustainably for the long term. So yeah, those are so fun. I love picking their brain, and you can get so many golden nuggets from people who've been doing this for decades. So love doing those.
Love it, Richard.
Side note,
have a good one.
Funny, I'm seeing that the Roku investor relations site is actually down right now, which is always interesting. But I'm seeing that Reuters reported that I don't have the full numbers that means, but Reuters reported their active accounts came in at 60.1 million, and I'm seeing their fiscal year 2021 sales came in at 2.765 billion. I don't have expectations for those right now. I'll keep looking. Let's see if I can find that.
By the way, Twitter Spaces, Evan, I saw your comment. How about this? What's this? How's this for an idea? You have Twitter Blue. You can pick whatever emojis you want. That would
comment at Spark Program. I think it might get better.
I did drop into the Spark Program chat and I said, "Hey, all, anyone else missing the 100 emoji now that we have the heart?" And somebody replied, and they were like, "Yeah."
Are you saying the Roku investor page is down for maintenance?
Yeah. Not much we can do. I was hoping we can get a bunch of numbers out here, but we're going to get a slow trickle of stuff coming out, it sounds like. That's crazy.
I only went there because I was just like, let's see if this is true. Sure enough, it is.
So, okay, a couple companies report earnings in different ways. A couple companies will, the press release will be, go to our investor relations page and you'll find our earnings. And that tends to take 10 to 15 minutes to get them there. And a lot of companies, what most do, is they'll include the report in the press release, which, stops people from having to go to your investor relations page like this. So I think this we're seeing exactly why companies don't do it like this, or shouldn't. But whatever.
Yeah, if anybody wants to chime in with anything they're seeing here in after hours, feel free to just up your hand or unmute. But I do see Roku bouncing off of the 132 line. They bounced right back up to 140. So they're only down about 1.5% after hours now.
Wait, TSDR, what did you just DM me? I didn't get the chance to fully read it, but it sounded interesting.
I just got a couple messages from some of my buddies saying Direxion just filed for an inverse Tesla ETF. I have no verification. That's why I was looking to you before commenting on it. Let me know if you see anything come through. But yeah, someone I trust said Direxion just filed for an inverse Tesla ETF.
I'll do some digging. It's wild. What? Interesting. Is that ever been a thing of just going inverse on one stock? Like, why not just go short or buy puts?
I don't know. I mean, I guess this is a way for people to essentially get short exposure to Tesla in their, IRAs that don't let you short. Like, for example, in like a regular, typical traditional IRA, you can't go short a stock in it, but you can go long, like the SQQ, something like that. So I guess, I don't know, seems kind of dumb to me.
Isn't Stark like that? Like the inverse version of ARK? Like when ARK goes down, Stark goes up?
Yeah. But I think that's more of that's an ETF, really. So I don't. Kind of crazy that they would do it on inverse stock. I see one or two. Eric Balachunas, who is the senior ETF analyst for Bloomberg, he tweets out a bunch of stuff. Honestly, I would consider him a trusted source for this stuff. So I'm going to tweet that. Meta falls out of the top 10 biggest companies by market cap. Wow. I just got a message that as well.
New 52 weeks low today for AMPL, AFRM, MTTR, Shop, and PayPal.
Wait, stock market news. Did you just verify the information?
Yeah, I would say it's true. I haven't seen the actual thing, but it came from a reputable place, a Bloomberg analyst who covers this directly. I would say it's true, and I'm about to tweet it.
Yo, Evan, imagine DCAing into PayPal over the last 2 months.
Is that a shot at me? I mean, I've been doing very, very slowly. I still got a bunch more DCA to go in. I'm kidding, Tim. I really don't care, though. When you get to the level of friends and whatever on these spaces, which all the people on this call really are, we can joke around. So just know that. Make sure you're checking all the people up here and giving them a follow as well. I was hoping. Listen, I was trying to get it for these earnings. I was like, all right, we'll be live for Roku for 10, 15 minutes, get a really nice coverage in them, and we kind of fell out, interestingly, with their investor relations page being down. But I see Shake Shack as well, if anyone cares, ticker SHAK. EPS of negative 11 cents, beat expectations of negative 17 cents, and then revenue was $203.3 million, which beat expectations of $202.67 million. The forward guide is below consensus estimates by about $10 million. Let me check. Normally that means stocks moving lower in this environment. Yeah. I think the forward guide is killing Shake Shack on this one.
All right, I love you guys, but I got to get running.
All right, brother. Appreciate you being on.
There you
We
guys. Take it
can,
easy.
yeah. Make sure you check out Exclusive. Give him a follow. He's one of the top class traders. We had a fantastic space with him earlier as well. Give him a follow. Check out all. And it was great. Like 4 hours of just live trading. I love it.
Yeah, tons of
Appreciate you,
bangers. All right, guys, take it easy.
Wolf. I think we're good to slide it into wrap ups. The Roku came with a trickle, but if anyone has any thoughts or anything, so far, see you, Munich.
Yeah, no, sorry, I was gonna go right now as well, but I appreciate it, man. Thank you for hosting these spaces, man. You're doing an amazing job.
I'm gonna run quickly. I would like to say something with Sun runs in a reaction. It's starting to trade a little bit lower. We just saw about $1 move lower on it. One thing I'll be watching tomorrow because it. Let me see here. I guess it didn't hold up too well today. Anyways, the charts of ENPH look like they've got more move in it. So if we get some continuation to the downside tomorrow in a lot of stocks, we'll see things that are like are good traders like Zoom or Shop or other things, for example, that had already significant moves down the past 2 days. Some of these solars have held up fairly well. Now you can view this in two ways, right? You can view it as relative strength, compared to the market, or you can view it as it has room to catch up, right? So depending on how you want to view this, I'll be looking at ENPH below about 147 to take short tomorrow down to about the 20 SMA on the daily. Near about 140. That'll be about a $7 move or so. But this will be one that I'm looking at if there's some continued follow through of weakness on some solar stocks and the TAN ETF.
Good stuff, man. We had really, really great trades all day today from TSDR. So if anybody hasn't already checked out what he is doing, very much well worth your follow. Criminally underfollowed. We're going to get him to 10K ASAP. Appreciate you being on, man. All right. We're moving through the rest of these wrap-ups. PB, anything else you want to add?
No, nothing much. Thanks for having me. I'm just watching this Roku earnings because I'm not even gonna lie. Like at the end of the day, I took one call just for fun because I feel like everyone on my feed was buying puts. So I don't know, just for fun, like with some of my profits for the day. But yeah,
It's up in after hours.
Yeah,
it just was
down,
for a second.
Yeah, it was just down
1%
to up 1%. So it's fun to watch.
Good
Thanks for
stuff,
having
man.
me, Wolf
Yeah.
and Stock Market.
We appreciate you being on, and we'll definitely be doing more spaces together. All right, man. Take care, and Stock Talk coming to you for anything else you want to share. This has been a bit of a crazy week.
Yeah, it has been, man. It's really catalyst-driven week, up and down on Ukraine-Russia tensions. We didn't get much of a reaction to any of the Fed talk this week. It was mostly I guess except today. Today we got that reiteration from Bullard about the 1% hike, and then that kind of scared the market a bit. But I mean, just really catalyst-driven market. So just take it day by day is really the simplest way I can put it.
Well said. Like when right to the point, drive it home, and always great content from Stock Talk. If anybody hasn't already checked them out, one of the best out there. Again, has an incredible Discord as well. We mentioned some of those plays. TSDR, if you go in, I'm in Stock Talk's Discord right now, and you look at, I believe he was putting that into, I know you alerted it inside of the blue chip large cap, and then I think he put it into day trades, right? And in day trades,
Yep.
you can see shop at 11:58, shop 700 puts for 10.55. Those ran to $42. So that's it's a lot of money right there per contract.
Yeah, I didn't capture the full move, but I'm in a nice trade off of it as well. I wish I'd obviously been a little bit more patient, but made a couple 100% on that one. And even if you took the short on the equity outright in pre-market when I tweeted it, that should have paid really well as well because it wasn't really moving down in pre-market that much, and then it dumped at open. So that's why I do those pre-market alerts. Like pretty much every morning. This morning, I didn't do that as many as I normally do or as in much detail because, like I said, I was feeling pretty under the weather. But usually between 3 to 5 a.m., I'll post anywhere from 2 to 5 ideas in there based on a number of things: PR, earnings reports, price analyst changes, things that are going to drive volume. And so that's how I'm going to continue to trade for a while. I'll get back. I'll put my stock picking hat on I know a lot of people who followed me, back in 2020 and 2021 kind of missed those swing trades and those stock picking trades. I'll be back to doing that, but just not yet, because we're not in the monetary climate for that at this point. If you're an investor or a swing trader and you're trying to like identify DCA opportunities or long-term ads in a climate like this, I personally believe you're really doing yourself a disservice because there's no way to know, if any of these stocks are going to bottom out. There's stocks that have looked like they were at technical bottoms for months and they kept trading lower. So I think trying to be a swing trader and investor is really difficult in this climate, especially if you're deploying a lot of capital. If you're doing it conservatively, that's fine. But if you're deploying a lot of capital, I think doing that in this environment is really tough, to put that burden on yourself. So if you continue to just day trade and trade the opportunities in front of you, then you have a much higher probability of success because you're not depending on the trend to hold overnight, right? Like a stock that runs off a catalyst intraday may not continue the next day, or we may get a headline risk the next day, right? But intraday you can almost always trade these things. You might not get a 50% move every time. Maybe you'll get a 5-10% move, but taking those base hits is important too. Like the number one reason I've seen people lose on trades in this market is greed. Is the idea that a trade is going in their favor and they believe that it's going to continue to go in their favor. Once you see convincing profits, or once once a stock hits a major resistance you've been watching, once a stock hits a supply zone you've been watching, any of that stuff, you should have some kind of metric, and it's going to be different for everyone. Fundamental traders have fundamental metrics they use to get in and out of trades. Whatever metric or data point you're using, you have to have some, juncture before you get in the trade. You have to have a plan of, what's the juncture at which I'm going to get out of the trade. And once you get there, get out. Don't sit and wait on it just because you're up. That's what's killing a lot of people in this market. I think like a lot of the DMs I get and a lot of the comments I get are from people that have overheld trades. They're talking about trades that they took months ago and they're still holding them and they're down 60-70%. Don't do that in this market. Just trade what's in front of you, take the profits when you see them, move on. There's a new opportunity every day. I think that's something that retail traders need to hear, new traders especially, is that they kind of believe like there's not going to be another opportunity, or like I got to hold this and squeeze out every ounce of juice, right? Like an analogy I like using, and this might be silly to some people, but I'm not a bartender or anything, but I enjoy making cocktails every once in a while. If you're ever squeezing a lime into a cocktail and, there's a little juice left, do you just stand there and just like get out every drop of juice out of that lime? Or do you just get another half of lime and squeeze that in? And that's the same analogy. Like for people who are sitting on the same trades, trying to squeeze out every drop of juice, a lot of the times it's better to just move on to the next lime. So, that's what I've been trying to do, and I think that works better in this environment.
Yeah, there's no need to, like, I think you put it right there. Squeeze out every last drop of juice. Sometimes that in and out is just working better in this environment, and hopefully that'll change in March, and we'll open up, because I think it's a really tough way to go about being profitable. But if you don't feel like you can, then there's no worries. Sit out. The market ain't going anywhere. Been around a long time. Going to be around even longer. All right, PB. I think sorry to say, but I think those calls are fucked.
Yeah, I think so too, but it's fine. I only have like a little bit of my profits from today in there, so it's whatever.
Yeah, they seemed like they pretty much shit the bed, it looks like, on everything. Massive miss on adjusted EBITDA.
Yeah.
Pretty big miss on net revenue for Q1, for that fourth quarter, for everything. Evan, are you seeing EPS yet?
Let me dig into it. No,
Also,
not yet.
Also, really bad day for crypto. Bitcoin was minus 7.2% today. Ethereum.
Did you see the headline about Biden introducing regulations next week?
I saw it briefly. I didn't really look into it.
I didn't see much either past it too, but I don't know. Maybe something to note.
We'll look at it when we look at it. All right. I think that's pretty much most of the stuff on our end. Evan, anything else you want to put out there for today?
Big shout out to all the speakers, Stock Talk Weekly, PB, everyone else who had to drop off, making this space so fantastic. Click into their profiles, check out what they're doing. Big shout out to Wolf Financial for helping us put together the spaces. If you enjoy spaces, you're on here, you clearly do. Definitely a must follow. And big shout out to Bullish Rippers for bringing us all together and being a great thing. I do personally tweet from that account and do some great stuff. I actually had a tweet today, one of my best tweets ever from that account. Let me pin it back up here. Maybe go in and check that out. We're at like 7,000 likes, which is crazy. We posted that this morning. Always great to see. Yeah, super grateful for all the speakers. Super grateful for all the listeners who came in and got some value out of this. It's really what makes it worth it. And in general, just really grateful. So love doing this. Excited to do more of them. I know we got another spaces later today, Wolf. I know we got a bunch tomorrow as well. Overall, just make sure you're following Rippers. Make sure you're following the Wolf account, and you'll see all those spaces as well. But yeah, big shout out to everyone involved. Thank you guys. Thanks, Stock Talk and PV.
Awesome. We'll leave it off with some energy there. We've already been live for 6 hours today on Spaces. So if you haven't yet, please make sure that you are tuning, into everything that we are doing, checking out the speakers. If you want to know the easiest way to find all of our spaces, you're like 10-hour spaces a day, how can I find these? We have solved that. There is a single tool. It is our Twitter Spaces Google Calendar. There are 3,500 people using this every day. So if you're not already using it, just listen up as what it gets you. First off, completely free and easy to get onto. All you have to do to get onto it is DM any of the hosts up here, myself, Stock Market News, the Wolf account, and just ask to be added to the calendar and add into that DM, just add your Gmail. If you don't have a Gmail, put a different email in there, but all you need to do is send an email and ask to be added. Again, thousands and thousands of people using this, finding the best spaces, learning from people who are profitable and do this for a full-time living. Inside the calendar, you'll see dates, times, topics, speakers, and recordings. You can find everything all in one place. So make life easy, DM, and then of course make sure you're following the Rippers account, Stock Market News, the Wolf account, Stock Talk Weekly, PB, RK, and you will see these spaces coming up on the top of your timelines. With that, we are going to go ahead and close this one down, but I will be back on Spaces in an hour and a half for like 3 hours of NFT spaces. So that should be interesting. I'm going to have an AMA space for the first hour, then a alpha space for the second hour, and then I have a Hall of Fame UFC fighter who has fought John Jones, among others, that is coming onto the spaces at 8:30 p.m. EST. So keep an eye out for that. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. We'll see you then.